Hello, thanks for joining us. This is Nationwide. I'm Ruth Aguela. The World Humanitarian Day is observed annually on the 19th of August as designated by the United Nations to acknowledge and celebrate the valiant efforts of aid workers who tirelessly extend their hands to individuals impacted by crisis. To commemorate this year's World Humanitarian Day in Nigeria, a solidarity walk was organized by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation in Abuja. It is exactly 20 years since the United Nations headquarters attack in Baghdad that left many injured and 22 people dead. An attack that inspired the World Humanitarian Day to advocate the survival, well-being and dignity of people in crisis.
That tragedy marked a change in the way humanitarians operate. Because today, although humanitarians are respected around the world, they may also be targeted by those who would do them harm. On this World Humanitarian Day, we salute the courage and dedication of humanitarian aid workers everywhere, and we reaffirm our full support for their determined and life-saving efforts across the world.
Today, Nigeria is demonstrating her commitment through solidarity with this work by humanitarian actors to raise awareness and honor aid workers for their bravery on the front line, as well as promote the need for humanitarian assistance in the country, while paying tribute to those who have paid the supreme price.
Humanitarians, whether working for government, for civil society, local organizations, international organizations, the UN, humanitarians deliver assistance to those in need, no matter who they are reaching, no matter where it is, and no matter what their needs are.
So I think the ministry is well positioned not only to handle what is happening now, but also to predict and start preparing for what we are to expect in the future in the country.
With the theme, no matter what, many say it is a call to action for sustained partnership to address challenges posed by humanitarian crisis, with a show of resilience by these humanitarian actors that no matter what, Nigeria will continue to stand tall. In Abuja, Ruth Aguela. In keeping with the federal government's livelihood support to farmers, vulnerable Nigerians and those who lost household equipment to the 2022 flood disaster, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has extended support to the 6 area councils in the Federal Capital Territory. The agency says all persons affected across the country will be assisted. Let's hear from Ilyasu Yakubu.
11,101 households across the 6 area councils of the FCT have been earmarked to benefit from the intervention. The exercise, which is done under the federal government's 2023 Special National Economic and Livelihood Emergency Intervention, is segmented into 3 categories with allocation of food items to vulnerable Nigerians, farm implement to farmers, and household equipment to residents affected by last year's flood disaster. The beneficiaries commended the federal government and NEMA for the support at these difficult times of their lives.
And if they can keep it, kudos to this government of this day.
I'm very, very happy because I didn't even expect that such a thing will come to mind.
NEMA representative and that of the FCT Emergency Management Agency say mechanisms have been put in place to ensure a seamless exercise that will guarantee direct contact with the actual beneficiaries.
This item is meant to bring support to them and also enhance their economic capacity.
And everybody that you see here, no matter how the crowd, everybody have one paper or the other to collect anything that is on his paper.
In Abuja, Ilyasu Yakubu, NTA News.
The Ministry of Mines and Steel Development has expressed willingness to partner with the Nigerian Association of Exploration Geophysicists in addressing challenges posed by exploration activities. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Mary Ogbe, stated this at the maiden international conference of the association in Abuja. The Permanent Secretary reminded the geophysicists of the critical role they play in underground activities such as water drilling and solid minerals prospecting. Resident of the association, Akinola George, however, encouraged his members to embrace emerging technologies in the mining industry.
It needs the collaboration of every association of this noble profession, mining and geoscience, to collaborate with the ministry. You know that the focus right now is on the mining and metallurgical sector to develop our economy. And we need this collaboration to move our country forward.
Electrical resistivity soundings go beyond collecting geoelectric data and using existing software for quick interpretation for borehole siting, leading to water borehole drilling and development, which at times become rechargeable and thereafter go dry within a short period.
The maiden edition of the Geophysicist Conference was rounded off with the recognition of legends in the solid minerals exploration industry in Nigeria. A look at politics. The All Progressives Congress is intensifying efforts ahead of the off-cycle governorship elections in Kogi, Imo and Bayelsa states. This informed a tripartite meeting of stakeholders, including the APC governors, the party's governorship candidates in the 3 states, and the national chairman of APC, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje.
We had our meetings, part of our consultations, and also used the opportunity to listen to our national chairman, who came to brief us on the activities of the party and the proposed reforms intended to carry out in the party. So it was just a family discussion. And inclusive is also preparation for the upcoming governorship election in 3 states.
Political correspondent Salihu Gwanara reports that 14 APC governors attended the meeting behind closed doors. Nigeria's march towards achieving a sustainable democracy is work in progress and should be supported by all stakeholders. This formed part of resolutions at a national dialogue on ways of ensuring sustainable democracy in Nigeria. Let's hear more from Timothy Yusuf.
It's a dialogue among government, civil society groups and youth organizations with the theme, Our Democratic Stability. Discussion is on the state of the nation, focusing on leadership, national security, legislative and electoral reforms, and the economy.
What we are doing here recognizes that we are all Nigerians that want to ensure that our country is put in the right platform. This democracy has been in existence since 1999. We are about 24 years uninterrupted. How do we ensure that this democracy remains sustained, uninterrupted by any means?
Patriotism and national interest by citizens are identified as vital tools going forward.
We are praying that the steps that the government is taking on the petroleum sector, the subsidy question, will just create initial pain of the needle, but the ultimate cure for the and for your future will make you forgive all the pain of the present.
Participants emphasized that Nigeria's leadership role on the subcontinent should be supported by citizens, as democracy remains the best form of government. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
The Bida-Agaye corridor has become a nightmare for drivers plying the road, as they have to spend hours in a gridlock to navigate their way. The drivers on the route have made a passionate appeal to the federal government to expedite action on the reconstruction of the Bida-Lambata road to ease vehicular movement. Jones Ajayi will tell us about it.
The Mokwa-Bida-Agaye-Lambata corridor is a trunk A road linking the southwest Nigeria to the Federal Capital Territory Abuja and other northern states. However, the Bida-Agaye road is presently in a deplorable state, leading to gridlock that spans for several kilometers through Bida to Mokwa road. The drivers, especially of articulated vehicles, are the most affected, as some of them get stuck and few others involved in accidents while trying to maneuver their way, thereby causing a major obstruction on the highway. The dark spot on the corridor is between an army formation in Bida and Badegi, where vehicles have to take turns to pass from opposite directions. This is also affecting work at the National Serious Research Institute Badegi, as most of the staff resident in Bidda are finding it difficult to get to work.
So God will help them. Let them help us to do the road in time.
Please, may government help us do the road. We can see that the government is trying. They are trying to do it, but may they try, help us.
We have spent close to 8 hours on this road. No food to eat, nothing. We don't have anywhere. See, bush everywhere. The road is bad.
The reconstruction of the Bidda-Lambata Road is a project among the critical roads funded by NMPC Limited under the Federal Road Infrastructure Tax Credit Scheme, expected to terminate at Esso in Bidda. Jones Ajayi, NTA News.
Time for us to head to Lagos to join Adiola. She will pick up from there. Adiola.
Thank you, Ruth. The Nigerian Navy says it is committed to collaborating with the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development and other relevant agencies in curbing threats to national security, such as the activities of illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing within the country's maritime domain. The Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Gala, stated this at the handing over of 6 constructed personal boats to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development in Lagos.
The 6 boats, made from glass-reinforced plastic with flat-bottom keels, are propelled by 2x85 HP outboard engines and capable of attaining speeds up to 15 knots. The boats have length overall of 7.5 meters, molded beam of 2.4 meters and draft of 1.5 meters, enabling it to operate and maneuver within the relatively shallow and winding backwaters. The Chief of the Naval Staff said the boats would be used to reach out to riverine communities by monitoring and supporting agricultural activities towards ensuring food security in Nigeria.
I believe that if we continue to further this cooperation, we are going.
We apologize for that hitch there with Lagos. Let's take a break or we pick up? Let's take a break. All right. Welcome back. All right, let's rejoin Adiola. She said.
Thank you, Ruth. The Nigerian Navy says it is committed to collaborating with the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development and other relevant agencies in curbing threats to national security. The Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ugala, stated this at the handing over of 6 constructed personal boats to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development in Lagos.
The 6 boats, made from glass-reinforced plastic with flat-bottom keels, are propelled by 2x85 HP 15 knots. The boats have length overall of 7.5 meters, molded beam of 2.4 meters and draft of 1.5 meters, enabling it to operate and maneuver within the relatively shallow and winding backwaters. The Chief of the Naval Staff said the boats would be used to reach out to riverine communities by monitoring and supporting agricultural activities towards ensuring food security in Nigeria.
I believe that if we continue to further this cooperation, we are going to see a reversal in terms of those illegal activities that affects our food security, particularly fisheries. So we'll redouble our effort and we seek the collaboration of agencies like Lagos State Government and the Ministry of Agriculture and so on in this regard.
While acknowledging the synergy between the Nigerian Navy and the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, the Director, Special Duties in the Ministry, noted that the boats would, to a large extent, improve the living standards of the coastal communities in the country.
We are ready to collaborate with other states and stakeholders to ensure that these irregular activities that is happening on our waterways are reduced to the very, very minimum.
The boats, constructed locally by the Naval Dockyard, will be deployed to 5 coastal states in the country. In Lagos, Hingino, John Adams, NTA News.
And that's it from Lagos. Ruth is back to you for the continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you, Adiola. Are you looking for an all-encompassing educational system with international footprint without crossing the shores of Nigeria? Well, Cosmopolitan University has formally opened its doors to the public. Salwal Khalil Ibrahim reports that the citadel of learning is aspiring to groom academic doyens and other leaders of thought.
Send somebody to London or Berlin or New York to get an international good quality experience. We want them to get this experience here.
It is the wish of many to acquire the best education, but beyond having a degree or its equivalent, its application in solving problems, considering the enormous potential of artificial intelligence, is imperative, and so Cosmopolitan University is pioneering this, looking to expand human knowledge as well as prepare graduates to make positive impact in their workplaces, communities, and the environment.
We're bringing in international footprint, international expertise, looking at the best in the world.
Cosmopolitan University, together with one of the private university here in Abuja, as well as University of Lagos and University of Nigeria and Nsukka, with 3 or 4 universities in the UK, 2 universities in Japan, and universities in South Africa, are collaborating to look at issues around ethics in AI as it involves teaching. So we have actually hit the ground running.
Located at the heart of Abuja, the institution has 16 accredited courses in humanity and sciences with state-of-the-art facilities.
In most Nigerian universities, you notice that it's more of theory than practical. I like how here it's more of the practical aspects, and I can't wait to come.
We hope to have more universities like this to help us in developing our technology back in Nigeria.
Practical application of artificial intelligence and modern technology, to be precise.
Some of them, even from school, will have jobs waiting for them as soon as they graduate.
We hope that parents, students, and the society will leverage on this, and we hope that they will maintain standard.
Cosmopolitan University is among the 36 newly licensed universities in Nigeria. Salwa Khalil, NTA News.
All right, Amina is in Kaduna. That's our next stop.
Welcome to Kaduna Network Center. Kaduna State Governor Senator Obasani says 15% of the state's annual budget will be allocated to the provision of quality healthcare services to the people. The governor disclosed this while hosting a delegation from the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency. Mohammed Umar Ajingi reports.
Was in Kaduna State for an advocacy visit to discuss critical matters concerning public health. The Sultan of Sokoto was represented by the Emir of Argungu, who informed the stakeholders here on the resolutions of the northern traditional rulers regarding the effort put in place to eradicate polio.
The children that are regularly being missed and thus stands the risk of being infected by the polio virus. We received the line list, and we've been working ever since the beginning of last month to meet with the traditional rulers of those affected areas to hear from them what we can do working together with them and the government and partners to ensure that every child is reached with a vaccine.
By supporting the most vulnerable people in communities, we are bringing healthcare closer to the people, and this is what we're trying to achieve with universal health coverage, to ensure that no Nigerian, nobody from Kaduna State will have to pay catastrophic health expenditures because they are paying out of pocket.
The state governor, Senator Obasani, who was happy with some of the resolutions, says the state government will collaborate with all relevant stakeholders to enhance the quality of healthcare services in the state.
This law provides an institutional framework to achieve one health system made up of 3 sectors: health, environment, and agriculture. because of the interplay that exists in terms of causation and prevention of diseases. As you are all aware, 70% of the burden of health is on primary health care. This underscores the need to strengthen the PHC system to reduce the burden on secondary and tertiary health care, as well as improve the health indices.
The group are asking for more support from the traditional institutions to ensure universal health coverage for all. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa has reaffirmed the determination of the military in taking proper care of its personnel. He stated this when he visited wounded soldiers on admission at the 44 Army Reference Hospital, Kaduna. Dauda Mohammed reports.
The visit by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, is part of routine assessment of wounded soldiers on admission at the 44 Army Reference Hospital. Soldiers with varying degrees of injuries, most with complicated fractures, were assessed by the Chief of Defense Staff. The CDS also inspected equipment at the prosthetics workshop of the hospital.
The Nigerian military care for their troops because we know without them there's really nothing that can be done. I want to let them know that we're together with them. We're praying for them for their quick recovery, and whatever it takes, even if it means for further treatment, taking them abroad for other works that cannot be done here, the military will also do that.
Nigerian armed forces have in recent times intensified kinetic operations against bandits and other criminal elements in the country. Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to Ruth in Abuja. From here, it's back to Ruth.
Thank you, Amina. The newly appointed Vice Chancellor of Joseph Saruwan Tarka University of Agriculture, Makurdi, Professor Isaac Itodo, has taken up his duties with a plan to consolidate on previous achievements and creating an enabling environment for teaching, learning and research to thrive in the institution. He unveiled his plans at a reception in his honor by the Adagba engineers of the Nigerian Society of Engineers in Abuja. Justin Bem Unyi reports.
Adagba engineers, in a bid to encourage one another, appreciate the need to celebrate our own engineer professor, Itodo FNSC.
Professor Isaac Itodo was recently appointed by the Governing Council of J.S. Tarka University, Makurdi, as the 7th Vice Chancellor of the university. Gathered here from all walks of life are personalities of the Igala extraction who are mostly engineers by profession under the auspices of Adagba Engineers. Formed in 2020, Adagba Engineers is a group of Igala engineers with sincerity of commitment and purpose to foster unity among Igala engineers and the people of Igala Nation. They converged to identify and celebrate one of their own, Professor Isaac Itodo.
We therefore implore the principal officers here to kindly prevail on the VC and all relevant organs of the university to establish a campus in Igala land. Such a campus can be a center of excellence in land degradation and erosion control studies.
I'm not surprised by the government today rewarding him for his excellent work, and I do believe, and I have no doubt in my mind, he will transform that university to what it should be.
The Nigerian Society of Engineers is also confident on the capacity of Professor Itodo and sees a bright future ahead.
And I assure you, I'm not speaking on his behalf, I'm speaking on behalf of all engineers, that you will see very positive difference in that school.
Universities are citadels of learning, and there are certain things that define learning. So those are the things I'm going to bring to the table.
The reception in his honor also came with presentations to recognize his enormous contributions to the engineering profession and the development of the Igala community. Justin Bemuni, NTA News.
Perennial water scarcity in Enugu is one of the greatest challenges residents of the city have had to confront with for several decades now. Well, the people rely on rainfalls, hand-dug wells and water vendors for their water needs. The situation, however, gets to a crisis point during the dry season when the rain ceases. The wells dry up and the vendors who source the commodity from outside the city hike their prices. The situation is exacerbated by the hilly topography of the city. Well, the Enugu water problem seems to have defied all solutions and efforts by past administrations in the state. The current administration has taken drastic steps to arrest this monster by setting up a 180 days target from its inception to change the narrative. Our correspondent, Susan Eze, is standing by live in Enugu, but we'll take a background situation of what I've just narrated before we join her live.
In the absence of pipe-borne water in Enugu metropolis, other alternatives come to the rescue, but in most cases, they are not portable. Water vendors cash in on the situation. A 500-gallon tank goes for between 7 to 10,000 naira, while a 20 liters gallon is sold not less than 100 naira, depending on the season. Though the hilly topography of the city and the abundance of coal pose a peculiar challenge to the provision of water in the metropolis, it is, however, gratifying that in view of Governor Mba's promise of providing water for the populace, some positive signals are already emanating from the sector, with reactivation work going on at the various sites of the Enugu water scheme.
We expect about 18 new industrial boreholes. We pumped the other one yesterday, and we are having 150,000 liters of water in an hour. And that is what the pump is delivering. We are delivering 60 million liters.
Waiting in anticipation, Enugu residents say solving the prolonged water problem would not only have positive impact on other sectors such as manufacturing, small and medium enterprises, it will drastically reduce the cost of living in the cold city. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
All right, I told you we're supposed to join Susan Eze live for the input to give us the update concerning the drastic situation. When we get a signal, we'll definitely join her. But let's continue with other issues. The Nigerian Television Authority has continued to receive accolades from different organizations following its improved presence on all social media platforms and professional media reportage. The Director General of the NTA, Salihu Abdulhamid Dambos, has been inducted into the Hall of Fame of the Coalition of Civil Society Network, championing the cause of the organization in line with emerging media trends to meet the objectives of the foremost media organization on real time across Africa.
Professionalism and commitment have been rewarded. The honors became imperative following improved programming on real-time and social media platforms by the NTA, Coalition of Civil Society Network, committed to driving the cause of youth across the nation, says the NTA has continued to promote good initiatives, uniting the nation through quality programs and factual reports.
New team have reformed NTA, not the NTA that we used to know. I will also look at, we're also here to not only to award you, but to look at future collaboration between our organization and NTA.
I commend the management team, and I could be glad to see that person that is handling that social media team, because at least we are learning. yes, especially that Twitter. Understand? Because even before the government agencies now release something, you see NTA and the small logo is there, and it shows that it's coming from NTA.
Obviously thrilled, the DG NTA, who was presented with the Outstanding Excellent Service Award, assured that the authority will not relent in encouraging initiatives get towards youth development and national cohesion.
Because it is only through criticisms and observations that we can grow. We are not too big, we have not arrived yet. So there is still need and there is room for improvement. So we will count on your support. It's very, very important as the stakeholders So this and so many other things we think collectively we'll be able to do in order to bring forth some of these laudable programs that you have.
The group urges the NTA to sustain the tempo and remain the uniting force for the nation. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
The paucity of funds counts as a challenge in effective delivery of primary health care, especially at low-income population in developing regions of Africa. While robust enlightenment on effects of environmental factors will reduce the risk of neglected tropical diseases carried, or rather circulated by flies and mosquitoes. We apologize for that mix-up. We don't have that report ready, but maybe to come in the course of the bulletin. We head to Ibadan now to join Ife Oluwa. She'll pick up with more reports on Nationwide.
And welcome to Ibadan. In a bid to deepen the understanding of administrative job for the smooth operation as well as progress of the Nigerian Television Authority, a training on administrative procedures for management staff in the Southwest has held in NTA Ibadan, your state capital. Wasil Rauf reports that the training was engaging.
The workshop, which was an interactive and participatory one, gave an opportunity for participants to share their experiences on their job and appraise their system. It also provided them a platform to iron out administrative areas that always impede smooth operation of the organization.
We are made to understand that record is life. It is very, very important for us now as the GM and the admin people in every station to keep record.
The workshop has been a big eye-opener for me. I learned a lot, and what I've learned would enhance my performance on the job.
On issues of maybe discipline, insubordination, indiscipline, so many things. It has been awesome.
Going forward from now, we have the mandate of the DG, who is so much interested in training and retraining of staff for us to be at par with other organizations to do it better.
The facilitator, a retired Director Administration Olusegun Folani, noted that it is imperative and incumbent on the management staff to equip themselves with necessary and needed administrative skills as they progress in individual leadership future career.
For those that have participated, I want them also to go back and impact on those at home, their various stations, what they have learned.
It will improve productivity in the sense that most of the things that are hidden from people, they are now aware and they are well educated.
The two-day training was at the instance of NTA management. In Ibadan, Wasil Rauf, NTA News.
With hydroelectricity expansion and renewable energy policy of the federal government has been commended. This was at a public lecture titled Balancing the Energy Trilemma, Relevance of Petroleum Engineering. Kebbi Osun reports that the lecture held in Ibadan.
Speakers at the lecture say the need for researches to balance the trilemma and encourage local technologies for renewable energy and decarbonization in the oil industry is pivotal. They also identified issues of energy demand as a global challenge in the face of rising population, climate sustainability and equitable access on one hand, with national economic security on the other.
The technology to adapt solar energy and make it affordable and sustainable is still evolving.
The issue of availability, the use of purchasing power, the use of instability, make sure that people will not transit completely.
We are familiar with the fossil fuel, but the new energy medium is just coming into Nigeria. Solar is catching up a little bit, but how many people can afford solar?
They therefore agree that energy transition, though inevitable, should consider optimal balance in energy mix anchored on the nation's petroleum resources.
Whatever be the issues in the industry, at least we can see the solutions from the academic part of it, so that there will be synergy.
It is expected that the academia will continue to contribute to the overall development of the petroleum sector in Nigeria. In Ibadan, Kemioshi, NTA News.
That's it from Ibadan. Nationwide continues in Sokoto with Asmau after this break.
Welcome to Nationwide from Sokoto Network Center. 26 commissioners have been sworn into the Kebbi State Executive Council. The governor, Dr. Nasir Idris, enjoined the newly sworn-in commissioners to uphold the virtue of transparency, accountability, and professionalism in the discharge of their duties. Correspondent Abdul Jalil Muhammad Bawa reports.
The 26 newly appointed commissioners were sworn in by the acting chief judge of the state, Umar Abubakar. The governor, shortly after the administration of oath to the appointees, charged them to work hard towards the development of the state and the country in general.
So I'm a very disciplinarian person. I don't condone indiscipline, but I appreciate hard work. And most of the time, hard work attracts reward.
On behalf of the other commissioners, Abubakar Muhammad Birnin Kebbi assured the people of Kebbi State their readiness to work towards the development of the state. The governor assigned portfolios to the commissioners immediately after the event. In Birnin Kebbi, Abdul Jalil Muhammad Bawa, NTA News.
Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal has flagged up the first batch of 1,500 unemployed youths engaged for the newly introduced state sanitation program. This is aimed at keeping the state capital clean and tidy, as well as to keep the teeming unemployed youths off the street. Jamilu Ibrahim tells us more.
Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal recently unveiled a sanitation program that will engage no fewer than 1,500 youths as part of his administration's strategic plans to keep the teeming unemployed young men off the streets and to empower them to become self-reliant, thereby contributing their quota towards the development of the state. Having worked out the modalities for the implementation of this laudable initiative, the governor has formally launched the take-up of the program, which commences with Gusau, the state capital. Coordinators and supervisors of the program were inaugurated by the governor with the mandate to ensure effective implementation of the program in their respective areas. The governor, who enjoined the youths to consider the program as a stepping stone for better opportunities that will come their way under the present administration, charged them to take the job seriously by keeping Gusau, the state capital, clean and tidy at all times.
This is the first step towards making sure we engage the youth. There are other programs lined up, which very, very soon will be unveiled. And this is all part of encouraging the youth to become useful to the society.
The National Assembly member representing Gusau's Federal constituency, Kabiru Ahmadu, and the State PDP Secretary Muhammad Zangina applauded the governor for the initiative, saying it is a clear demonstration of his special concern for the teeming youth in the state. The state coordinator of the youth sanitation program, Kabiru Muhammad Danyadodo, and some of its coordinators and supervisors said they could not thank the governor enough for the initiative, even as they pledged to live above board. In addition to the monthly stipend, the youths are also to enjoy 20% of the proceeds to be derived from recycling of the waste by a private company contracted by the state government in Gusau. Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and all other social media handles displayed on your screens for updates. We'll take you back to Abuja, where Ruth is standing by for the continuation of the news.
Thank you, Asmao. Recall the story I called earlier on the paucity of fund, which count as a challenge in effective delivery of primary health care, especially at low-income population, especially in developing region of Africa. Well, experts are calling for a robust enlightenment on effects of environmental factors, which is needed to reduce the risk of neglected tropical diseases. This is one of the highlights at the 23rd inaugural lecture of National Open University of Nigeria on audacity of parasites and the imprudence of man, delivered by Professor Chiedu Felix Mafia, a professor of parasitology in the Faculty of Sciences. The university done recommended comprehensive policy framework to prevent chemotherapy packages and develop tests in order to distribute a new generation of tools to control the diseases.
The greenhouse effect, the advent of travel and increasing global temperature influence the spread of vectors and tropical diseases across the latitudes. Parasites are audacious. They have no friend. They are an ungrateful lot. They live in us or on us. Through their physiological activities, they end up hurting and ultimately killing their host, even though that was not their intention ab initio. They evolved in a most
Lecture equally recommended empowerment of the faculty to initiate consortia involving other disciplines for research in any of the tropical diseases in communities around the catchment areas of the university. As part of efforts to stamp out corruption and block leakages of public funds due to illicit financial flows, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has issued guidelines to private sector to curb the menace. Omenka Amarachuku reports that the guidelines will chart a roadmap for more effective interventions on anti-graft activities.
Financial flows and leakages of public funds are part of major reasons for underdevelopment of many third world countries, including Nigeria. Aimed with this fact and other concerns raised by the International Monetary Fund on illicit financial flows, the ICPC is engaging stakeholders from the private sector to provide solutions to change the narrative.
The objective of our gathering today, as stated in the publicity flyer, is to popularize the guidelines on private sector response and to get feedback from that constituency on any possible challenges towards implementation of the recommendations in the guideline. We're creating a similar platform for public officers and other stakeholders to ventilate the guidelines on negotiation of contracts and agreements.
Special Advisor to the President on Revenue Mobilization called for more synergy in all sectors to strengthen efforts towards combating illicit financial flows.
That we are not going to tax the seed, we are going to tax the fruit. We are to encourage investment so that the production can increase. We will encourage production. So that presupposes that we are going to diversify so that we have enough production base so that we can grow our economy and prosperity can come.
The guidelines developed are expected to serve as an intervention framework to the private sector in bridging the gap from where public resources are being siphoned. In Abuja, Omenka Amarachuku, NTA News.
In recent years, Kebbi State is one out of the 7 states identified with the highest record of out-of-school children in Nigeria, a situation which has become worrisome to stakeholders. Mohammed Bawa reports.
In recent time, available record shows that more than 200 million children are out of school in Nigeria, out of which Kebbi State has its own last year. It is a common sight in Kebbi to find a large number of children irrespective of gender, street begging or doing manual labor, especially on the farms when they are supposed to be in school.
I want to be a doctor, but I'm not in school.
This situation experts describe as a social illness, destabilizing the socio-economic development of the state and the country in general.
But unfortunately, these children that are ought to have been trained, who are going to be the future leaders, are no longer in school. They don't receive this kind of formal training. Unfortunately, we have seen the future of this our society is doing it, honestly speaking.
The expert also advocates vigorous sensitization. In Birnin Kebbi, Abdul Mohammed Bawa, NTA News.
All right, let's join our correspondent live now, Mohammed Bawa. He's standing by to give us a situation report very briefly on the efforts by the state government to reduce the rate of out-of-school children in the state. Mohammed, please go ahead.
Thank you, Ruth, and welcome to Birnin Kebbi. In Birnin Kebbi, we have a peculiar case of out-of-school children, which need urgent government intervention. Available data shows that there is more than 800,000 children who are out of school in Kebbi State, a situation that poses a great danger to the short and long-term development of the state and the country in general. There are many causes of these out-of-school children, which include the withdrawal of girls for early marriage, the Almajiri phenomenon, and the farming activities, among others. This has become a thorn in the eye of Kebbi State government. Therefore, they have set the ball rolling in order to ensure that these children, who are the leaders of tomorrow, are back to school. With me is the acting executive chairman, State Universal Basic Education Board in Kebbi State, in person of Malam Umar Hassan. Sir, what is the Kebbi State government doing to ensure that these children, who will be the leaders of tomorrow, are back to school?
You know, the greatest problem facing education globally is that of learning poverty. Learning poverty, is, as defined by World Bank, is a situation whereby a child aged 10 is not able to read and write. If that child is in school, then it means that child is having learning deprivation. And if the child is out of school, then that child is said to have schooling deprivation. So in Kebbi State, we have adopted the policy of framework developed by UNESCO Institute of Statistics. That is RAPID framework. RAPID framework stands for R, reach out to every child and keep them in school. A, assess learning levels regularly. P, prioritize teaching the fundamentals. I, increase efficiency of instruction. And D, develop psychosocial health and well-being. In Kebbi State, we leverage on the better education service delivery and enroll 790,500 out-of-school children comprising of girl child, nomad children, and almajiris into non-formal learning centers where we engage them in a 9-month intensive basic literacy program.
Okay. Thank you, Executive Chairman. It's back to you, Ruth, in Abuja.
Thank you very much, Mohammed, for that update. It's good to see that the state government is putting in modalities to ensure that no child is left out of school. And this is where we round off Nationwide. Thank you very much for your company. I'm Ruth Aguele. Do have a beautiful evening.